I know. It seems to make moral sense to say we have to do everything to rescue innocent people. Everything. Well, I mean, but what does everything mean? Trying to rescue them militarily is included in everything. It's one of the things you could do.
Well, Israel was making progress on that, and
Yeah.
they did rescue some of them, but ultimately, you can say outside forces. One that comes to mind is, of course, Donald Trump assuming presidency, saying, if I go into office on January 20th and the hostages haven't been released, all hell will break loose.
Right. We'll get into that. But let me just give you the rule by which I live, because I have like an aphorism that I like, which of my own coinage, I think, which goes like this: just because things are bad is no excuse to make them a million times worse. Okay, so it's a very bad situation that there are hostages. It's bad. It's unfortunate. Nobody wants to be in that situation. Terrible. But that's no excuse to produce a world where there are many, many more hostages, right? So, yes, it was a bad thing that Gilad Shalit was taken 12 years ago or whatever. It's a bad thing. We lament it. But just because that's a bad situation is no excuse to produce 250 hostages. So you're in a place already where no matter what the outcome is, it's a bad outcome. Either they torture to death the hostages they have, or some soldiers die trying to rescue them, and maybe they all die, or maybe some live but some die. That's still a bad result. Or maybe you negotiate with the terrorists and you produce many, many more hostages in the future, which is also bad. So the only question is, what is worse? And just because you're in a bad situation doesn't give you any right to make things worse. And when you're talking about bad and worse, you cannot reason as if the people who are already hostages are the only people in the world who matter. No, we all matter. Every single one of us is infinitely valuable. That's why this math is very simple. If we are all infinitely valuable, then it doesn't make any sense to exchange the lives of one hostage for 250 also innocent and also infinitely valuable people. They're all infinitely valuable. You can't say the only people that matter are the people who are hostages this minute, and therefore we will sacrifice any and all other human beings to rescue those hostages. That's not ethical. There has to be a principle by which we make these decisions. And the principle is, how much harm are you causing or preventing? If your policy is leading to more harm than the policy that we have right now, then don't change the policy. And if you see a policy that produces less harm than the one you have right now, then switch to that policy. That's the way to make ethical decisions.
Yeah, I'm still trying to make my point across that it's still it's not as tangible, the pain inflicted now mentally that the families have endured, the people in Israel have endured, all of us who are witnessing the tragedy of the hostages. We cannot really see the snowball effect of what that causes in one's lives.
Well, this is why genocides happen. So listen clearly. Listen carefully, because genocide is what I study. This is why genocides happen. Genocides happen, on the one hand, because there are people who want to commit genocide. Of course, they bear the main responsibility, obviously. But the other reason that genocides happen is that the people on the victim side don't think they can happen. They cannot see the snowball process. Look what just happened. We are talking about the Jewish people. We are talking about a people that pretty much every century suffers a major attack, genocidal attacks. What just happened is that the state of Israel the state that was created to protect the Jewish people from genocide has lost a war to the terrorists in order to get the hostages back. And what that means is that the security of the entire state of Israel is now in question. There is a real question now about whether the people running Israel have the will and the capacity and the intention of defending the Israeli Jews from genocide. There's a real question now. We need to ask ourselves this. And that is the price that Israeli Jews are paying for these hostages. They are paying with the risk of genocide.